We are going to start off with my favorite segment, and that is ripping the hearts out of people who want a particular candidate, but Kevin and I are going to tell you absolutely not. Okay, so please start spamming in the chat who you would like as a head coach, or excuse me, who you would not like as a head coach, and then we will give you ours. Kevin, start off. 3 candidates that perhaps a lot of Bills fans are mentioning that you want to stay away from like the plague. Talk to me.
Well, first of all, like the Anthony Weaver stuff, getting second interviews with the Ravens and Steelers is very interesting. Like,
very.
Oof. Oh boy. Okay.
Please do.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead. But if you look at it, I'm going to start at the top of the list. Brian Daboll. Like, I have no interest in Brian Daboll. Like, we want the guy who couldn't get over the hump in the same playoffs offensively, couldn't run the ball. He was spamming 4 wide like he was a child playing Madden. Like, and Ken Dorsey was kind of a disciple of that. Like, obviously, Daboll ran a better version and then went and got a guy like Jackson Dart and still got fired. Like, ultimately, what are we doing? Like, I know we want to discipline Josh. I mean, that's the number one thing that I'm hearing right now is like, discipline Josh Allen, like discipline him, like yell at him.
He's a grown man. He's 30.
We want Daboll we want to hire Daboll as the head, failed from the Giants because we want to discipline Josh Allen. I got nothing for you, but he's at the top of my 3-man list of coaches that I have zero interest in. That is bizarre. This bizarre rationale. He's a failed head coach. You don't hire a failed head coach who's done nothing, in my opinion. He couldn't figure it out. He couldn't figure out the quarterback position. Josh Allen made Brian Daboll, and Brian Daboll did yell at him and did kind of keep him in check at times. But if we listen to Josh Allen, Brian Daboll will be on the top 3 or 4 finalists for sure. No doubt about it. But I do have a better take than that. Is him or Webb the offensive coordinator choice that I could get behind? That I can get behind.
Yes.
Let's be clear here.
Second on your list, stay far away from.
Second on my list is, well, my list is interesting because are we talking about realistic options or in general? Because that would change my last 2 guys.
So we're talking about guys we would like to stay away from. Just to give you some inspiration, I have actually put it on Twitter for my guys.
Your list already. So Dan's list is public.
Yeah. My list is now public on X. Feel free to go on ahead and follow me over there, and Kev for all of our thoughts. Here are my top 3, Kev. Yeah. You know that I'm a big Joe Brady guy. I'm a massive Joe Brady guy. I think that he is an exceptional offensive coordinator, but dating back to ancient times.
Plan, though, Dan, it could have been the natural succession plan of making this as smooth as possible with the team.
Yeah. It could happen, right? But like, why I'm on this list for me, right, is back in old times, right? Like when you take a dictator down, all right, what else do? You take out the whole damn family because you want to be able to take away every single morsel of what that regime was from the beginning. Now, again, I wouldn't be really upset, but in my eyes, I've always lived by this. If you got to burn a bridge, you better damn well burn it to the ground, right? Just complete facelift, see what's going on. Number 2 for me, like you said, Brian Daboll. Nah, I'm good. Especially a guy that has a recent failure on his resume over in New York. Not my style. You may have been able to talk me into a potential offensive coordinator reunion, though. And then number 3 is Mike Tomlin for me. I think that that's probably about as a redundant of a move as you could to bring into somebody that, in my opinion, reminds me so much of what Sean McDermott is. Again, this is just me speaking off of like no experience in the back of the house of the Steelers organization, but probably wouldn't be too happy with him coming in either.
Gotcha. So let's continue the list. So we obviously, we both have Brian Daboll in common. OC, maybe a different discussion. But if Brian Daboll's the OC, that means you hired a DC coach again. So is that even realistic? Probably not unless you go like Jesse Minter, Chris Shula or something. Like I
feel like we're going offensive coordinator. I feel like we are.
So therefore, Brian Daboll's probably out of play. You're not going to hire him as an offensive style coach. You already have Kevin Stefanski is probably mad that he didn't get a chance to interview elsewhere. But how is he to know? But let's continue the path. I'm just not going to get behind Mike McCarthy. Like ultimately,
I've heard a couple of people suggest that.
No,
I'll pass on that too. I wish and that I could edit this tweet because I probably would have put Mike McCarthy on this
No
list.
way. And include, like, you can kind of lump some of these guys together, like old offensive coordinator fail guys. Like, I'm good on Cliff Kingsbury. Get him. I don't want him anywhere here. Mike McDaniel as a head coach. Like, all of these guys would be completely fine as offensive coordinators. No problem. Including Dable. I have no interest in Matt Nagy, Brian Dable, Brian Callahan, Cliff Kingsbury, Mike McDaniel, Mike McCarthy, and obviously Stefanski already has signed. But that list can all be grouped together of like, what are we doing? Like that's the what are we doing list of like, no, thank you. And then like Steve Spagnuolo is kind of in that on the defensive side. Like, please, like that's just not something. And Mike Tomlin is a good example you had on your list. So those are two more guys of. But what's really interesting and one I wanted to talk, and the Davis Webb is just he's an OC candidate. Like, there's no way. Like,
he's a QB right now. He's not going to be able to skip a whole.
But maybe there's something there. I don't know. Maybe there is something there behind the scenes. Joe Brady obviously makes a lot of sense of a natural transition to keep your team together, make a change, make an offensive voice. Whether it's my favorite or not remains to be seen. But I think who is the hottest offensive coordinator decisions right now? Klint Kubiak, Joe Brady. Is there anybody else?
With Klint, with Klint, he's only had 2 years of play calling experience.
Let's talk about that. Why are we convinced that Klint Kubiak, who has been failed multiple offensive coordinator positions, who finished top 8 once this year in a Seattle offense that's good, it's definitely carried by the defense. It's got Kenneth. I really obviously like Kenneth Walker. He's not overly utilizing like Zach Charbonnet. It's another running style offense, and obviously developed. The biggest claim that he's going to have is developing JSN. I mean, that's going to be his claim to fame. But like, what makes that much different than Joe Brady? Just that Joe Brady had Josh Allen, and that will never count, I guess. But I think that they're 1 and 2 on most lists. You have the Baltimore Ravens interviewing him. You have the Raiders. I mean, you have the Dolphins. You have multiple teams interviewing these guys. And a seamless transitions, Joe Brady. Are we that confident that Klint Kubiak is 3 steps ahead of Joe Brady? I'm not that confident. Like, I'm not overly confident. What happened in New Orleans? Sorry. What happened in New Orleans? I'm not saying he's not a good offensive coordinator now, and he has developed a lot in 1 year. But, like, what are we doing here? Like, how are we sure that he's that much different / better than Joe Brady? I think they're both 1 and 2 right now in the list of offensive coordinator coaches. And the last comment here is going to be tough to know. Do they entertain a college guy? Because that's just way above me in terms of like who would even be wanting to leave. They get paid so much, and it's a different experience.
I
can't even evaluate the millions of options over there from like going on the list from day to, just a ton of different kind of guys, and which one has ever worked out. Like, I guess the Harbaughs, like, I don't know.
Straight from college right into the NFL. It's you know what name makes I'm not sure what like your thoughts are on this one. If Buffalo does stay with a defensive minded head coach, if they do, and you're probably gonna hate me for this one, Brian Flores. Would you be interested in potentially Brian Flores? Because I get it, and that he had a failed campaign over in Miami, but I think we can agree that what he was able to do with the Minnesota Vikings defense was certainly impressive. Then again, he might have the similar personality to a Sean McDermott type thing, but at least he brings that defensive stuff, and then you end up pairing him with a quality offensive coordinator. Thoughts on Flores?
The solid defensive coordinator. He's really good. Like, from a coaching perspective, it'd be that, like, I mean, I just don't know they go the DC route. Like, whether it's Flores or any of the defensive, even the young, the guys like Jesse Minter or, whoever else you'd consider like a defensive coordinator option. I don't love it. Okay. I like him as a defensive coordinator, but ultimately,
with head coach, you're going to pass.
I mean,
got it.
The overall structure of our roster and what we would have to do, and like the way he plays defense, would definitely be a peak defense. I mean, he'd have to be paired. He would be one that would need to be paired with the top offensive coordinator choice, whoever that happens to be. Like, he would need to be paired with whoever the Mike McDaniel.
Have two former Miami Dolphin head coaches. hey,
exactly.
Like both were. I mean, so the both were cursed with
Tua.
Tua.
Dable, right? With Kingsbury, like what do you?
The both were cursed with Tua, right? I mean, maybe. And surprisingly enough, like I did kind of like the potential of Cliff Kingsbury, just because I think that Kyler Murray, of course, kind
as
of
an OC
hampered
or a coach, head coach,
as a head coach.
Okay,
I know, and so I know he was on your list of do nots, but I don't know. And so I feel
my problem is, Dan, my do nots is too heavy. Like this team is too good for me to be looking at some of these guys. But what does that leave? Klint Kubiak and Joe Brady? Like that's literally what my list would leave right now.
Yeah. So you're two guys that you would welcome into the door. You'd be excited for Klint and Joe Brady.
And I can't rank them 1 and 2 because I don't think it's fair to say. I don't think we really.
And they both have similar experience, right?
Right.
Except for Joe has them by a half a year.
Yeah, really similar. When Joe obviously has Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen is not going to get say in this. He's done getting say in a lot of these huge decisions.
Yeah. Stop allowing him to have say in anything.
I get the one thing he may have some decision in is where they place Joe Brady in this search. Either off the market, like, no, we're done with this guy, or like really in contention. That I think he will get say in, at least entertaining him as a second round interview.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think that's probably where it stops. I don't think he's going to get say on whether he likes Brian Flores or not, for instance.
Yeah. Who is going to be the new head coach of the Buffalo Bills? What is your preference? Give me your top 3 candidates.
Yeah, I'm really going to have to look into this. The preference, though, for me, unquestionably, is an offensive-minded coach. You're talking about probably having to replace another OC. So should you do that, you are going to be moving on to what would be the 4th offensive coordinator for Josh Allen. I don't want to hire another head coach with the idea that we're going to have to cycle through a new offensive coordinator every 2 years because Josh Allen puts up 30-plus points a season. This has to be an offensive-minded head coach. Right off the bat, what I do think has the most legs that would make sense right now, whether I want it or not, I got to think about it. But Brian Dable right now makes the most sense because McDermott's out of the building. It felt as though there was a tiff at the end there, so that's no longer a reason to factor in whether or not you'd want to bring him in, right? A lot of success with Josh Allen that got him that New York Giants job. The relationship with Josh Allen, the relationship with Brandon Beane, I think it makes sense. Whether or not I want it or not, I don't know. I personally feel like I want to go towards one of these younger offensive-minded guys, whether that be like Klint Kubiak's name comes to mind. I think I'd probably prefer Mike LaFleur over that. I think that there's been more success there on the offensive side of things. But then again, there's just far more personnel on the Rams than there is Seattle to be capable of having that type of success, which you have to factor in too. It's like with Ben Johnson, right? With that loaded Detroit offense, you have to wonder at times, are these guys actual head coaches? It's like with Mike McDaniel. I keep hearing his name be popped out. Would I love him at OC? Where do I sign? I'll sign right now. Head coach? There's absolutely no way. The guy is not a head coach. He's a hell of a leader of men. He's not. And to transition from what McDermott was, culture-wise, to that would be a significant shakeup that I think would undo a lot of what McDermott and Beane built over the last decade here or so. To put a bow on it, Dan, offensive-minded head coach. I keep hearing Tomlin. I'm big time out on that. Mike McCarthy, I'm out as well. I would rather go younger here than I would older. I just don't want to go for a guy that I think probably has his best years behind him. I'd like to see what we got from a guy that maybe hasn't proved to everybody yet that he could be the next McVay, Shanahan. We just saw it with Liam Cohen. We're watching it with Ben Johnson. Obviously, he was the hot candidate. I don't think he had a great postseason here. But my whole point is that there's guys that haven't had the crack yet that wind up being the guys. And I think offensive-minded at the end of the day is the way you got to go, which then transitions into wondering what this Bills defense will look like when it's all said and done. Because the Bills defense has been top of the line, whether you want to believe it or not. When you're looking at the culmination of all the years John McDermott just put together during his tenure in Buffalo, the Bills defense was towards the top. So what's the Bills defense going to look like now that McDermott's no longer at the helm? Offensive-minded guy, Sean, Dan, that's where I'm at. And I'm wondering when we're going to see it. I got a feeling, like Kevin mentioned, I got a feeling it's going to be before the Super Bowl. But if you have, LaFleur in mind or Kubiak in mind, depending on who makes the Super Bowl there, it's going to get real interesting.
But
So I'll tell you what,
you have to ask him who of the three he doesn't want.
You're right.
Yeah.
Ebot. So me and Kev, we ended up giving the three that we did not want.
Sure.
You did say Tomlin already.
Yeah, so Tomlin, it's no slight at Tomlin, and I see people in the chat who want him, and I love Mike Tomlin. But the argument's always, well, he's done more than McDermott. Well, he won a Super Bowl 16 years ago. I think Mike Tomlin's best years are behind him. If you look at the timetable from when McDermott took over to where Tomlin was in Pittsburgh, I know the talent was less, but they were an automatic first-round exit every single year, and they underperformed, I think, every single year based on the standard that Pittsburgh has. So I think, would it be a brutal move? Like, would I be throwing stuff at the wall, punching a hole in the wall? No, but I think it's a lateral move. I don't think you make this move if you're Buffalo, if you're looking to just take a step to the right or the left. I think you're trying to take a drastic leap forward, or else you wouldn't do this. And I don't think Mike Tomlin is that. Joe Brady would be on that list as well. I don't think you can promote from within here. If you surveyed the fan base on a 100-person sample size, how many people are going to say they didn't want Joe Brady to return as offensive coordinator? Could you imagine if they promoted him at head coach? Bill's Twitter the following day or in that moment would be unlike anything you've ever seen before. I thought Joe Brady coached a great game in that Denver game, and I think that he was fine throughout the duration. I don't think it was great, but then again, I don't think the personnel was the best either. I just don't think that he would be my decision. I don't like promoting internally unless you are dead set on that guy being the guy. If you're moving on from McDermott, then why would you then promote from within the staff in which McDermott had already fielded? Do you want to start over or not? So whether you love or Brady or not is irrelevant to me. I think unless you think he's the next offensive savant, which I don't think any of us think that he is, that's why I'm not promoting there. And then lastly, Mike McDaniel. Like I just mentioned, I think if Mike McDaniel were up for taking over the offensive coordinator job and running shop with Josh Allen, sign me up. But from a head coaching perspective, I think he proved well and good in Miami that is not his strong suit. His strong suit is coaching offense, dialing up plays, having a good rapport with his offensive players. It felt very buddy, and it felt very laxed and just kind of vibey out in Miami, and look what that resulted in. So those would be my three right there that I would not want to sign up for today.
Three guys you want the Bills to stay far away from. Three guys that you would like the Buffalo Bills to bring in.
Okay, so let's steer clear of Joe Brady, first of all, because Joe Brady, offensive coordinator, he's been around for a little bit. He's got that rapport with Josh Allen, you could say, in this offense, but I'm not sold on the idea of promoting someone who has been heavily criticized already just as an offensive coordinator and who hasn't had that head coaching experience. It just doesn't make sense to me. Another guy that I would want to stay away from for the Buffalo Bills, there's quite a few, but Brian Flores, a defensive-minded coach, I think that he's done great things with the Vikings, but stay away from these defensive-minded head coaches. Let's go to people that I'd like to see the Buffalo Bills bring in. This one, okay, I'm very in the middle on Brian Daboll, because Brian Daboll is someone who obviously has had great success with Josh Allen as an offensive coordinator. And he was here when Josh Allen really transitioned into the superstar quarterback that we know him as. But what happened with the New York Giants? Did he get a fair chance in New Jersey? The organization is a mess with the Giants, but he has that rapport with Josh Allen. So I am interested to see exactly how that would play out. I think Zebot mentioned Mike LaFleur earlier from the Rams and brother of Green Bay Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. So I think that those offensive-minded head coaches are ones that the Buffalo Bills should really look into, because it's time for switching things up. The Buffalo Bills just fired Sean McDermott after 9 years. So let's not go back into the same pattern. Let's play to the strengths of Josh Allen. Josh Allen is your best asset. He's the quarterback, the franchise quarterback. Play to his strengths. He's going to be 30 years old entering next season. You have to maximize that window with an offensive-minded head coach. Mike Tomlin is also someone that I'll stay away from, although I am intrigued because, it's Mike Tomlin and he led the mediocre Steelers to the playoffs constantly. And he hasn't really had a reliable quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger. So I think that there's something to be said about that. Very impressive resume and a well-respected head coach, but I'm going to steer clear of that because I do think there's too many similarities to Sean McDermott. Right now, I'd have to look into it more, but right now, the two that stand out for me as ones that I'd look into are LaFleur and Dable.